Oh, this is fun. Republican investigators in Congress have a new and slightly troubling question for the FBI. Now, why didn't the Bureau tell them that the guy who triggered the Russia investigation actually had a multi-million-dollar connection to the Clinton Foundation? Reporter Alison Spann has been investigating Australian diplomat Alexander Downer. She now joins us to discuss her article just published in The Hill tonight. Alison, great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so now this is like a cast of characters. It's like a mystery novel. But tell us about Alexander Downer and his connection to all of this Papadopoulos character and why it's important.
So if you remember, in the summer of 2016, Alexander Downer was the one who came out with his evidence about George Papadopoulos. He said he had a drink with him in a London bar, and Papadopoulos revealed to him that he knew that Russia had some dirt on Hillary or might have some damaging emails to her. So he's the one that actually gave that information to his government. The Australian government gave it to the U.S. government, and that launched the whole Russia probe into Trump-Russia collusion. Yeah. Well, now we find out that Alexander Downer has a tie to the Clintons.
Now, what a tie? Now, he's at a bar in London. Mm-hmm. He runs into Papadopoulos. The circumstances around how he ran into him is interesting. You addressed that slightly in your piece.
Right.
But now, fast forward 2 months after he sees him in that bar, Australia brings this to the FBI.
Right.
It took 2 months. That's kind of interesting.
Took 2 months.
But then you find out that of Downer's connection to the Clinton Foundation is?
He secured them a grant for $25 million from the Australian government, funded by taxpayer dollars, to go towards AIDS prevention and treatment in Asia.
Oh, that's great. AIDS prevention. I mean, what could be wrong with that? So $25 million foreign money from Australia goes to the Clinton Foundation. Now, is there any question about how that money was used or whether it was fraudulently obtained?
So there was an audit that was conducted 3 years later, and it just wanted to basically go through and see what that project had achieved. Now, they did achieve some great things as far as getting those children the antiretroviral drugs that they needed and might otherwise not have been given a chance to get. But there were some questions about the money in that case and whether it was handled properly. And in fact, the report goes on to say that it was so mishandled that it was actually detrimental to the project. And they were given a score of 2 out of 6 for handling the money. And
2 out of 6?
Yeah,
that's
2 out of
great.
6. Now, the effectiveness...
That's typical Clintons, 2 out of 6. That's actually a high mark for them in handling finances or ethics. I just want to read this. This is from the Clinton Foundation audit. Some management weaknesses were noted with human resource management, the absence of readily available and useful budget information showing exactly how funds were spent, and project monitoring. So it's not a resounding plus, but the more important thing is, why wasn't this revealed? That's a big grant. That's a connection to the opposition candidate, to Donald Trump. He happens to be in this bar. He happens to meet this Papadopoulos guy. He happens to funnel the information. And he's not a minor figure. He's a well-known liberal politician in Australia who's buddies with the Clintons.
And I think that's what a lot of members of our Congress are asking now. We talked to Jim Jordan for our story, and he was shocked when he heard this information.
So you brought it to Jordan?
We brought it to these congressional committees who
They didn't even know.
No, they didn't know. So we actually
work.
brought this information to these congressional committees who are investigating this case. They had no idea. The FBI did not disclose this information to them. So they're shocked, and
That's unbelievable.
they want this to be investigated. And in fact, Jordan said that he wants a second special counsel because, as he says, that the FBI cannot investigate themselves.
This is one more example. First, you had the dossier being funded by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. That wasn't revealed to the FISA judge.
Right.
And now you have this.
Well, and there's actually 4 pieces of information they didn't reveal. The dossier was funded by the DNC and Clinton. Sidney Blumenthal, who is a close Clinton supporter, was funneling the information to Christopher Steele through the State Department. And then you had the Yahoo article that was quoted in the FISA application was written by Michael Isikoff, who got his information from Christopher Steele. And then now we have this connection between Alexander Downer and the Clintons.
Now, say that backwards really fast.
I know I know the Russia investigation is very complicated, but yes, we have 4 instances now. All 4 pieces of information came from people who knew, at least knew the Clintons. Just
for fun, this guy Sam Nunberg. We are totally out of time, but Sam Nunberg he worked for the, he worked for the Trump campaign for 5 seconds. Anyway. He's refusing to speak to Mueller. He was on CNN earlier tonight, and I'm sorry, this is too funny not to play to you. Let's watch.
So, Sam, I have to ask you one other thing.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's an awkward question to ask, but, I've interviewed you before. You're sitting very close to me.
Yes.
We talked earlier about what? people in the White House were saying about you.
Yeah.
Talking about whether you were drinking or on drugs or whatever they had happened today. Talking to you,
Yeah.
I have smelled alcohol on your breath.
Well, I have not had a drink.
You haven't had a drink, so that's
No.
not.
No.
So I just, because it is the talk out there, again, I know it's awkward, let me just give you the questions. You can categorically answer that. No, you haven't had a drink today?
My answer is no.
Thoughts?
It was painful to watch. I don't know how I would react in a situation like that.
But he's not testifying for it. I don't know him at all. I mean, he was hired, fired. I mean, but he's not testifying. He's not talking to Mueller. I mean,
Sounds like he could possibly be facing some jail time if he refuses to show up in court and doesn't provide those documents. So just another piece of the puzzle for this.
Maybe he just has really
investigation.
bad halitosis or something, or he chews gin and tonic gum or something. I'm like, who could have been anything. Alison, I hate to drag you in on that mess, but I'm
not
sorry.
drunk.
That was what. Alison Spann, The Hill. I'm not drunk. That is the quote of the day. I'm just kidding. Great reporting, you and Solomon.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.